What's going on, my exotic family? It's your boy Dre. Welcome back to the channel. Now, today's video, I'm just going to be giving you guys 5 basic reptile housekeeping tips to make the experience better, not only for you, but for your reptiles. Stay tuned. Alright everybody, so welcome back to the video. Like I said, I'm going to be giving you guys just 5 quick basic tips as far as keeping your reptiles, and like I said, they're very basic, and we're going to jump right into it with number 1. So number 1 is doing proper research. So I'm actually going to break down what proper research should be like. There seems to be a lot of confusion on it. There's debates, opinions, whatever. So I'm going to share with you guys how I do my proper research, and basically that starts by doing exactly what it is, going to a trusted site. You know, there's so much information out there about reptiles. Not all of it is true. You can go from site to site to site, and sometimes the information will vary, so that's why you have to really get extensive, you know, read articles, actually talk to people who own these reptiles. As I've stated in other videos, you have to really dig in on the reptiles, especially when getting, you know, these really big advanced reptiles, because you want to make sure you're providing that tip-top care, make sure all of their husbandry needs are met. Now, even then, even after you do all of that research, you still have to make sure that you can provide for this animal long term, and you still want to be able to get that experience. Obviously, nobody jumps into the hobby knowing everything. People jump in at different levels, and that's okay. You have to basically find where you're comfortable. If you plan to get into the hobby, find where you're comfortable, do your research, and research literally is not something that is done in a day or maybe 2 weeks. Research is, again, depending on the animal, because not every animal is going to need the same care, but most of the time research is going to take weeks, maybe months, and you really have to get used to everything. And part of that research is, before you even get your animal, setting up the enclosure, testing out everything, making sure everything is set up properly, so when you get your animal, it's a less stressful introduction into the new environment. Now, if you take all of those steps and you do everything, research should be continued. Me, myself, I've been dealing with reptiles since I was 12. I'm still researching because information does change, and you don't want to be that person kind of stuck in their ways, and you just have to make sure you stay up to date on your research because it's benefiting your animals. You have to know what changes, what doesn't change. You know, scientists are testing things all the time. There are, you know, certain things we used to do then that we don't do now. You know, back then people didn't provide UVB for their snakes, and now it's one of those things where we're pushing for it because it only benefits and enhances that snake's life. So definitely do your research. So again, looking at sites that are trusted, you know, looking everywhere, not just going to Google and typing in something and then reading it and then getting off. That is not how you research. Get in some of these groups, talk to breeders, and really just make sure you hone in on that animal. Make sure you really get their care down pat so you can provide just an overall better experience for your animal. Alrighty, so basic tip number 2 is gonna be clean everything. So let's say you go to an expo, or you go to the pet store, or you go to a garage sale, or you get some, whatever the case may be. No matter if it's brand new off the shelf, you are going to want to clean, disinfect that product before putting it in with your reptile. You just never know what types of germs that these products may carry, and that is not something you want to pass on to your reptile. It's like when you have a baby, and let's say you get your baby a teething toy. You want to, or cups, whatever. You want to clean those before actually giving it to your baby, just to overall make sure that there's nothing on that product that could possibly get to the baby or your reptile or whatever. You just have to be safe, take those precautionary measures. So whether it be wood, whether it be vines, whether it be any type of branches or anything like that, you want to clean it before sticking it into your enclosure. Especially those DIY people out there. A lot of us, you know, like to go to hardware stores and get things the cheaper way that do work, and we just want to make sure that we're not putting anything that's toxic into the enclosure. All right, so this next one is a big one for me, and that's gonna be check your temps weekly. I do that here. I check my temps about twice a week, but I'm gonna say weekly because that's what the recommended amount, the recommended time is. I do twice a week here. That's because I have so many reptiles, especially when dealing with thermostats or anything on a thermostat. You want to make sure it's working properly. You want to make sure that it's not overheating or underheating to the point where your snakes are getting sick, because temperatures get too low or too high, they can either burn or you have to deal with some respiratory infections or anything like that. So that's something that's very important. You have to also, make sure everything is working properly. We use a lot of these high-end expensive machines and we're trusting them with our reptiles' lives. So we have to obviously make sure that they're working, and you can do that by simply investing in a temp gun. I have two. Sometimes they can be a couple different temperatures or degrees off, but it gives you a good ballpark of what the temperature actually is. Obviously, if you have a rainbow boa and you're checking and the basking spot is all the way up in the 100s, then that's a problem. Rainbow boas do not like the temperature that hot. So checking on your temperatures, if you want to do daily, that's even better, but again, weekly, because that's how you catch any malfunctions with heat tape, with thermostats, or anything like that. So reptile keeping isn't just about the actual animal. You have to do all of the legwork to make sure, the behind the scenes stuff, to make sure that everything that goes into keeping those animals is benefiting them as well. And it's just easier on you. It's less of a headache. Nobody wants to deal with, losing a snake or anything to a malfunction that could have probably been caught if we just checked it earlier or sooner. Alrighty, so the next tip is going to be get your reptiles on a schedule or a routine. What I mean by that, obviously you're going to want to do that with feeding, but also handling. Snakes, reptiles in general, aren't the most fondest of being handled. Obviously there's exceptions to every rule. There's reptiles that don't mind, they'll come out, climb on your arm, that's fine. But again, you want to give them that time where they can actually relax in their enclosure as well. They can do their natural enrichment, they can dig, they can bask, and everything like that. If we're constantly taking the reptiles out, it could push them into a stressful state, and that's not what we want to do. We want to give them that time to actually be alone and do those natural things that they need to do. So come up with a schedule where maybe you're only handling them 2 to 3 times a week for maybe an hour or 20 minutes or whatever the case may be. You don't want to overhandle, you don't want to overfeed. So again, a schedule is very important no matter what you do. Whether if you're like me and you're creating content, you have to have a schedule when you're posting, taking pictures, when you're doing your YouTube videos. Obviously, a lot of my videos and the content that I post involves my animals, so I have to make sure that I have a schedule that coincides with their schedule. As you can see, I don't have anyone out today because everybody just got fed earlier today, so I wanted to give them time, let them do their thing, and then more than likely, I won't pull them back out again probably until Saturday. The pictures that I do post, whether it be today, which is Thursday, you guys will be seeing this video today. Tomorrow will probably be pictures that I've already taken this week. So just give them that time to actually relax, do what they need to do, bask, sleep, and just chill ultimately. That's what most of these animals like to do. Most of my lizards, they're kind of just lazy. They're sleeping, they're chilling, doing their thing. Snakes, obviously you take them out, they'll slither anyway, but again, you want to have a routine or a schedule. That way they can it's easier for you, and they kind of know what to expect whenever you open their enclosure because they're used to that routine. Alrighty, and last but not least, it's probably going to be a rule that everyone forgets about, and that is to have fun. Keeping these exotic animals is obviously a privilege. It's something that we all enjoy, whether it be hobby, whether it be what you do to actually make a living. It's still fun and enjoyable, and you have to make it that way. So doing your research, knowing as much as about the animal, providing them that tip-top care, ultimately, it's very rewarding. It is fun because you get to interact with your animals, on a personal level, and it's very enjoyable. Especially, I don't know if you're like me, if you had a rough day at work and you just want to not talk to people anymore, you can come in, pick out one of your favorite animals and just chill with them. And that's the fun part about it. And I think a lot of people kind of forget that. A lot of people, believe it or not, unfortunately, we have people that aren't in the hobby for the right reasons, but whatever. That's on them. But for the ones that are into the hobby for the right reasons and we really actually enjoy our animals and we're passionate about it, you gotta make sure you have fun. If you're not having fun, then why are you in it? All right, everybody, so that was 5 basic housekeeping tips for keeping reptiles. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys are actually doing all of the things on this list. And if you're not, hopefully maybe you start implementing them soon. But let me know what you guys think of the video. Drop a comment down below. Hit that subscribe button. I am so close, getting closer and closer to 2,000 subscribers. Turn those post notifications on so you don't miss any uploads. Follow me on Instagram at DwXoticz. And as always, stay exotic.